Good morning. We're going to be talking about a big idea, which is the 30-30-40. Now, 30-30-40 is about the benchmarks of an agent, or for that matter, for any business. You need to have a benchmark. It's a line where to be, it's a boundary not to go over to make sure that you know exactly what you're doing. And that what you budget at the beginning is exactly what's going to happen at the end. Have you ever started a business and at the end of the year you realize that you made a lot of movement but you didn't make a lot of cash and you don't see the cash in the bank? Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So you need to have benchmarks. Benchmarks 30-30-40. It's 30% is for your cost, 30% for your expenses, and 40% in your pocket. All right. So it's about budgeting cost and expenses, and of course budgeting profits, tiding, investing, and fund money. And this is the area where most of the people miss the boat. You get to have a lot of money and then you just don't plan for the future. You believe that you will be producing at the same rate, and guess what? That is not the case. All right, so show me the money. 30% is going to be the cost of sales. Cost of sales, we're going to talk about that, specifically what is needed to make some money. The other 30% is expenses, operating expenses. And what I'm talking about and what the MREA model talks about is specifically everything else that has to do with procuring those sales, but are not directly attached to it. Okay, like rent, salaries, and so on. And then, of course, you got your profit. Your profit is something that you want to make sure that when you budget, you have it, well, you keep it, and it's there, and you know what to do with it. All right, so let's move on. The first thing, cost of sales, 30%. We all have a cap. We all have royalties. We need to pay for that. And that is the royalties in company dollars. That is something that goes straight to your cap. Then the other is buyers or listing agents, not you. So if you're going to send someone to open a door to show a property, well, that's a buyer's agent showing agent. That will be a cost of sale. And the same thing is on the listing side. For the millionaire real estate agent, we have about $100,000 for the listing agent. That would be like an annual salary or something. And then in addition to that, you have about $600,000 on the buyer side, because we know buyers take longer to procure a sale. They need to go out there, show the property and different things. So that is kind of like the model. And these numbers are based upon $1 million net. All right. Now, the operating expenses is the cost of doing business. Okay. It is salaries, rents, lead generation, marketing, advertising, equipment, supplies. All of these are the components. And here is where most of the agents completely miss the boat. All right. They start doing many allowances that are not allowed, if you may, because it is actually the benchmark. You have a benchmark, you have a place that you do not need to go over, and that is exactly, they say, well, let me pay a little bit more of salary, let me go ahead and pay rent a little bit too much, and I have this shiny object that will be making me a lot of money, like leads or something else, and then all of a sudden you start making a lot of expenses. You bump it up, and guess what? Every time you touch on this, you're diminishing, you're reducing your profit. Therefore, the big tools here are the salaries and lead generation, which according to the MREA, they account for 72% of the whole thing. All right, of the whole 30% of operating expenses. And if you want to have a detailed chart of everything the way it is done, it is on page 157. And the expense chart will tell you according to what volume that the agent, is making, where should be the expense benchmark. So that's what it is. Oh, and another note, you can always go crazy in your cost of sales also if you start giving away a lot of buyer's agent money in case of referrals, referral fees. I've seen referral fees up to 35% straight. So we'll give you a lead, you go out there, and then we'll give you 35%. That's a lot of money, all right? So, you don't want to start off like that because your numbers will be completely thrown off, all right? Now, after all of that, if you tame the cost of sales, if you tame your expenses, you should end up, or your goal should be to end up with your net income of 40%, and that is your primary goal. Now, every time you want to change your expenses, every time you want to change your cost of sales, you need to make sure that you understand that whatever change you make in that formula is going to impact your net income. Therefore, make sure that you ask yourself that question: if I raise cost or operating expense, how is my net income impacted? All right, how much less money I'm gonna make in lieu of a supposedly more money that I'm going to make with this new tool. Supposedly I'm going to make with this new advertising campaign. Supposedly I'm going to make giving, leaving this much money on, off the table right there simply because I already committed to giving someone a big chunk of my commission. So I would say that is one of the biggest things that you need to know. Now, talking about net income, I would also say that it is very, very important to budget your profit. Okay, budgeting your profit is so important because when you have money, you need to make sure that you put that money to work for you, because at some point, guess what's going to happen? You simply do not have buddy forever, and I can tell you that. Okay, so you got to put your money to work for you. You got to put your money to reinvest, and you got to remember the three things. Number one, where you want to put your money in your own business, to make sure that your business has the best systems, the best tools, the best leverage, and that means in people. And then with that, you can make that business make definitely more money. So it's going to be definitely more profitable. In addition to that, you need to have an investment plan. So this needs to be a recurrent investment plan. So every time you make money, you have to get into the habit of putting that money to work for you and getting a particular amount of money invested into a fund, into another company, into your other company, or somewhere. And of course, that is going to completely get your retirement plan. So your retirement plan will be part of that you want to make sure that it works without any, that it works 100%. So at some point you can receive money without even having to work. So having that said, this is what we would say it is a 30-30-40. Most of the people miss the boat, specifically, and I would say this, specifically in the area of expenses, cost of sales, and I would say the biggest one is just what to do without profit. So if it's kind of like a trickle effect, a dominoes effect. If you don't take care of your cost, then you won't be able to take care of your expenses. Because if your costs are already messed up and going 35% right off the bat, then once you add the cap, once you add everything else that you need to add to that cost of sales, somebody that's going to help you at some point, well, if you're doing referrals of 35%, guess what? You're already budgeting at a higher price than what you should, the sales should cost. That's one thing. Then the expenses, subscriptions, they are a killer. They usually are the ones that will get you the worst. And please make sure that you keep that chart handy so you don't put many additional expenses on your balance, on your income statement that are offline this budget. This budget is really good, works good, and remember, MREA, it's an investigation. It comes out of what people were doing, not what they are supposed to do. It's what successful agents were doing. And then, of course, once you have all of that, hopefully, if you get 35%, 40%, or anywhere in between, make sure that you put your money to work for you. And it is okay to put that money to work back into your business, because you make a stronger business. And of course, every time that you put money into your business, you are 100% thinking that your money and your business will be stronger. That's all for all. Let's keep on, honing on the fact that 30-30-40 is the formula that we should always keep. And have a great day.